January 2023, Chelsea and Arsenal are fighting over the same wonder kid, a player the media call the Ukrainian Neymar, Mykhailo Mudryk, 22 years old, speed, dribbling, and pure chaos. He impresses all of Europe, shines in the Champions League, and becomes the new obsession of scouts everywhere. Chelsea end up winning the race, 70 million euros plus 30 million euros in bonuses for an 8.5-year contract. The promise of a future superstar and the symbol of a new era at Stamford Bridge. But less than 2 years later, everything collapses. December 2024, Mudryk is suspended for doping. He's no longer playing, and his career already seems finished. So how did a player who, for many observers, had the potential to one day win the Ballon d'Or end up here? To understand that, we need to go back to where it all began. Ukraine had been waiting for years for a new successor to Andriy Shevchenko. For a long time, no true superstar had emerged. Then, in 2018, one name started to surface: Mykhailo Mudryk. He was only 17 when he signed his first professional contract with Shakhtar Donetsk. In 2020, he became a small TikTok sensation. With his brother, he regularly posted videos of them chaining dribbles, juggling, and flashy skills. At a time when he had proved absolutely nothing as a professional, these videos quickly drew thousands of views and made him a rising social media figure in Ukraine. It was also thanks to that online notoriety that his name began circulating, long before he became the wonder kid European clubs would fight over a few years later. Mudryk was small in stature, but frighteningly fast. A player who dribbled, who dared, who constantly took risks. The kind of profile Ukrainian football hadn't produced in years. At first, Mudryk barely played, but in 2021, everything changed. Roberto De Zerbi arrived on Shakhtar's bench, and immediately he noticed Mudryk's potential. De Zerbi saw him as a raw diamond, a player capable of breaking lines and creating danger with every touch. Under his guidance, Mudryk learned to channel his game, to play with more intention, and above all, he began to understand how to make the difference against big teams. That same season, he discovered the Champions League. Against Real Madrid, Leipzig, and Celtic, he caught the eye of all of Europe. His goal against Leipzig, in particular, went viral across the continent. At 21, he was voted Ukrainian Footballer of the Year, and his name became a serious topic in every major scouting department in Europe. Shakhtar knew they were holding a treasure, and the whole continent knew he wouldn't stay in Ukraine for long. January 2023. Chelsea are in crisis. Results are disappointing, new signings aren't convincing, and the fans are starting to doubt. But the new owner, Todd Boehly, wants to make a statement. Under his direction, Chelsea spend without limits, multiplying record transfers and ultra-long contracts. The idea is simple: bet on young players and lock them in for the long term. 8 years, sometimes 9, a gamble on potential rather than immediate performance. And that's exactly what Mykhailo Mudryk represents. A young, explosive, promising winger. The perfect profile to embody the new Boehly era. Chelsea spends 70 million euros plus 30 million in bonuses for an 8.5-year contract running until June 2031. A huge transfer, completed after a battle with their London rivals Arsenal, who end up turning to Leandro Trossard instead, which would later prove to be a good move. In just a few hours, Mudryk goes from Ukrainian prospect to Premier League superstar. But this meteoric rise comes at a cost. For a player who hasn't proven anything yet, the pressure becomes immense. Every match, every touch of the ball is judged. And from his very first months at Chelsea, it becomes clear that this story won't be as beautiful as expected. From the moment he arrived at Chelsea, everything felt too big, too fast. The 100 million spent on a 22-year-old with only half a full season behind him already seemed unreal. But on January 15, 2023, Mudryk was unveiled in grand fashion at Stamford Bridge. Inside the club, this showy presentation caused discomfort. Manager Graham Potter found it unnecessary, believing it distracted the squad ahead of the match that day. 10 days later, a video posted on social media sparked controversy. Mudryk used a word with racist connotations. He apologized publicly, but the incident already damaged his image. On the pitch, the adaptation was painful. The pace of the Premier League, far more demanding than the Ukrainian League, overwhelmed him. During his first 6 months, he scored no goals and made only 2 assists in 17 matches. Behind Raheem Sterling in the hierarchy, he became just a rotation option for Graham Potter, then Frank Lampard. His limited English, his shy personality, and the war in Ukraine constantly on his mind made integration even more difficult. According to several English outlets, Mudryk isolated himself, spent a lot of time in the gym, and struggled with criticism from supporters. Off the pitch, his behavior raised questions. Some mentioned a few nightlife outings in London, nothing excessive, but enough to fuel doubts about his maturity. Within the club, no one questioned his talent, but rather his ability to handle pressure and focus on what mattered. The following season, the numbers were slightly better. 7 goals and 2 assists in 41 matches across all competitions. But his status didn't change. He remained a squad player. Inside the dressing room, tensions with the staff grew. Under Mauricio Pochettino, then Enzo Maresca, things didn't always work smoothly. According to several internal sources quoted in the English press, the player struggled with being frequently benched, and his training attitude irritated the staff. Maresca in particular reproached him for a lack of tactical discipline and insufficient defensive commitment. As he tries to win back playing time under Enzo Maresca, a completely unexpected announcement drops. He is provisionally suspended for doping. On December 20th, 2024, the English Football Association announces that the player tested positive for meldonium, a substance banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency since 2016. Originally used to treat cardiac disorders, it improves blood circulation and delays muscle fatigue. In other words, it allows the body to recover faster, a significant physical advantage in an endurance sport like football. This isn't the first time meldonium has caused a scandal. In 2016, tennis star Maria Sharapova was suspended for 15 months for using it. That same year, more than 170 athletes from Eastern Europe were sanctioned for the same reason. Some pleaded ignorance, explaining that the product was still sold legally in their countries when it became prohibited. In Mudryk's case, early theories point to accidental contamination through a supplement bought outside England, or a dose taken during a camp with the Ukrainian national team. His entourage denies any intentional use, suggesting a logistical mistake or a mislabeled product. But in May 2025, the B sample confirms the presence of the substance. The FA has no choice but to open a formal disciplinary procedure. Mudryk entrusts his defense to Morgan Sports Law, the same firm involved in defending Paul Pogba and other high-level athletes in similar cases. The player risks up to 4 years of suspension, although the ban could be reduced if he proves a lack of intent. In Pogba's case, the defense argued a supplement error, yet he still received 4 years before appeal. For Mudryk, the stakes are enormous. Not only could Chelsea suspend his contract, but a long-term ban would be devastating for his career. His entire style depends on speed and explosiveness, 2 qualities that fade quickly away from competition. Internally, Chelsea freezes part of his salary and temporarily halts all official communication about him. His sponsors, mostly Ukrainian and European brands, end their partnerships. The weeks following the announcement of his suspension plunge Mudryk into a real media fog. And with no official communication, the rumors spiral out of control. Some claim he is considering a complete career change. Various social media accounts insist the Ukrainian winger has decided to quit football entirely to focus on athletics, hoping to use his natural speed to qualify for the 2028 Olympic Games. Others claim he has left England, returned to Ukraine to find himself, or even turned towards religion. These stories spread at incredible speed. The English tabloids jump on them, and Mudryk's image collapses even further. For many people, he is no longer a suspended player. He is already an ex-footballer. But the reality is very different. A few days later, Morgan Sports Law, the firm managing his defense, releases an official statement. They confirm that Mykhailo Mudryk has absolutely no intention of ending his career and is fully focused on physical preparation and the ongoing proceedings to prove his innocence. Respected outlets quickly confirmed that the rumors of a career change were false. Mudryk himself remains silent. No posts, no public statements, no interviews. Those close to him insist he is staying hopeful, following a daily training program, and still dreaming of returning to Chelsea, even if, privately, many doubt the club will ever give him another chance and believe he will leave permanently very soon. Under English FA regulations, Mykhailo Mudryk risks up to 4 years of suspension, which would rule him out until December 2028, but many believe he won't serve the full sanction. With mitigating circumstances, he could return earlier, but even off the pitch, things continue to deteriorate. In December 2025, a new incident further damages Mudryk's reputation. The Ukrainian is arrested in London while driving a BMW. According to the Daily Mail, he was stopped in the west of the capital for driving without a valid license or insurance. The judge suspends his license for a year, orders him to complete 60 hours of community service, and imposes a £200 fine. And it's not an isolated case. This is already the second time in a few months that Mudryk is sanctioned for road-related offenses. In August 2025, his license had already been suspended for multiple speeding violations, another chapter in a growing list of controversies, and yet another sign of a player seemingly losing control of everything around him. So, what lessons can we learn from the Mudryk case? Today, Chelsea no longer sees him as a priority. He's just one player among many in a squad full of multi-million euro gambles. For 2 years, he was never truly supported. Lost between constant coaching changes, the pressure of his transfer fee, and non-stop competition, he slowly faded away. And at a club like Chelsea, when a player doesn't justify the investment, another one arrives to take his place. Mudryk is no longer a sporting project. He has become a financial asset, and that might be the real tragedy of this story. In 2023, he represented the future. By 2026, he already embodies the excesses of modern football. And you, what do you think? Do you believe Mudryk will ever return to the top level and finally reach his full potential? Tell me in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, and, of course, subscribe so you don't miss the next ones.